Welcome. Tonight we're going to take a look at the Sigelei 75 watt temp control. I haven't had any functional issues with this mod whatsoever, which is somewhat surprising but really isn't. Most Sigelei devices, I really haven't ever had an issue with any of them. Pretty surprising for China devices, but we will go ahead and move on. $69.99 at evcigarettes.com. The YT 10% coupon code that I usually spout out at this point isn't going to work on this particular device. I think that this device hit actual for sale this week. It was on pre-order for a while at this point. It actually hit stores, I think this last week or last week, I don't know. It hit stores. I just got the email that it hit stores, so I can go ahead and do the review. You get your option of black or silver. When we talk about color, the only color difference that you're going to see here is right here. I have the black version. If you get the silver version, this part right here is going to be silver. This part here, it's black. It'll be silver if you get silver. Mine is black because I got the black one. Sigelei 75, and here we have like a Tug Life box mod. It's a tiny little thing. A Tug Life box mod. It is a tiny little mod. It's a Snow Wolf. It is a tiny little guy. It's a tiny little bitty mod. I mean, it feels comfortable in your hand. At least it does for me with my weird shaped hands, but it's a comfortable tiny little mod. It surprised me taking it out of the box just how tiny this mod was. Single 18650, 5 watts to 75 watts. It'll go pretty low sub-ohm for a single 18650 battery. If you're going to be going as low of an ohm as this can go, EV Cigarettes says that it can go from 0.3 ohms up to 3 ohms. That's incorrect. Sigelei's website puts it at 0.05 ohms to 2.5 ohms. I have tested as low as I think 0.08 on this, and it will go that low. If you're going to go that low, however, I would recommend replacing your batteries pretty frequently and using 30 amp batteries like the Sony VCT4 or VCT5s in this guy, and like I said, replace your batteries pretty frequently if you are going to be vaping at that low of an ohm. It'll go from 100 degrees Celsius to 350 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit to 662 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's take another vape very quickly. I have the Heracles nickel version on top of it. I don't know what the official name is of it, but it's like their sub-ohm nickel version of this whole thing. The Heracles on top of this, 492 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 watts, 0.2-ish ohms, almost 0.3 ohms. It's not a bad vape. I like it for what it is. I also have its big brother here for review, the Sigelei 150 temp control. Which I will be getting to very soon. Dual, this isn't bad for a single 18650 if you're looking for something that's pocketable and you want a smaller device. Really personally for temp control, I really think that dual 18650 is something that you're going to need. Personally, I enjoy more power behind my temp control. But for what it is, I mean, it's a really solid little device, but I'm getting ahead of myself, so Let's go into the close-up. Here is the itty-bitty living space that your Sigelei 75 will come in. Slide this off. This is hard plastic. It also comes with a silicone sleeve, which is difficult to get on and off, but that is a story for another day. This is a USB, cord that nowhere in the manual or on any website does it state exactly what it is for, but I will talk about this when we come back up. Inside of here we get a user's manual, which is pretty in-depth and pretty useful. We also get a warranty card, which, let's see what kind of warranty. A 90-day warranty agreement with all of your limits of coverage and junk like that inside of it. The device itself, it is made out of aluminum alloy according to Sigelei's website. 75 watts, like I said, spring-loaded, 510. It is a copper 510 that we have in there. We have some kind of like plastic casing, it feels like, around here. It's pretty smooth and soft. This is a fingerprint magnet and a dirt magnet, as you can clearly see. Quite a bit of gross things going on here. We have some vent holes going on here. Also some vent holes down here. Here's where our USB port will connect. We have our fire button, our up and down button, and our screen right here. Oh, look at that screen. Oh, it makes me so happy. I love that new and improved screen. And we have a Sigelei branding down here. And you know, that's pretty much the gist of it. Moving on to the actual battery casing, we can actually pull both sides of the battery casing doors off, which is ridiculous, and I didn't actually realize this at first because I am apparently, you know, not a very technologically advanced person, but who would have expected that? So you can actually pull both of these off and you know, expose your battery from both sides. So this is how you will actually get your battery out whenever you want to take it out. And you know, that's some pretty weird stuff we have going on there, but you know, that's Sigelei for you. Clear positive and negative indicators. You want to make sure that you line these little metal nipples up. One word of warning though, don't try to just take one side of the battery door off and try to pry your battery out with some type of metal object of something or something of that nature. Please do not try to do this. Try to take both sides off and just pry it out like I showed you earlier. But you know, making the two doors like this, making both sides come off, I'm not 100% sure why exactly Sigelei did this. Maybe just to be different. I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, it would have just been easier to just put a ribbon in here. I mean, it makes it easier to get your batteries out, I guess. Less tear on your batteries, I assume. It's easier to get them out like this, per se. It's not necessarily easier to get them in. It's easier to get them in like this with one door on, but, you know, whatever. I'm not a huge fan of the doors, of both of them coming off personally. Turning the device on, it's 5 clicks on or off. And we are on. Now we have an ohm readout, we have a voltage readout, and we're in power mode right now, so we have a wattage readout. And we have a rough battery indicator with no bars, no lines, nothing like that. That's another con in my opinion, is that we got rid of the percentage readouts, which I'm pretty OCD about, but you know, it's fine. So to switch between power and temperature control mode, we're going to press our up and down buttons right here and hold them down. And we get the choice. Do we want to do power or temp control? We're going to go to temp. Select. And now we're in temp. So now we have a degrees Fahrenheit symbol. 492 is what we're at right now, apparently. To adjust what we're at right now, we're going to click up and down. Right now we are apparently in wattage. If you want to switch between temperature and wattage, you just press both of these quickly. And now we're in temp control. So we can round robin into Celsius like most devices do. And we're in Celsius now. And we can adjust that. But I like to keep it in Fahrenheit. With all of our standard protections on here, the device will also only fire for 20 seconds, which I think is kind of an obnoxiously long period of time to fire. But, you know, to each his own. Let me grab a device to throw on here really quickly and fire it. So this is one of the devices that you're going to have to set your resistance whenever you put a temp control device on it. And if you want to run it in just wattage mode, you're going to have to switch to the power mode that I showed you earlier. So we have a temp control device on here. And we're going to need to set our resistance, so we are going to press the down button first and then press the fire button. So press, press. And we set our resistance. And the ohms don't roam on this device, which is pretty nice compared to the Snow Wolf. The thing that I do want to mention here, on these smaller style tanks, we really don't have any overhang. This is a really low capacity ML tank. It goes right up against this curved edge that we have here. But if we put on a regular RDA or a larger capacity tank, we do have overhang. and I will show you what I am talking about. Let's throw this Royal Hunter on top. And these larger, like, standard device tanks look obnoxiously huge on top of it too. And we have overhang right there. Looks a little bit silly, but this is something to take into consideration with the device. So, fingerprint magnet. Fingerprint magnet, pretty bad. These back casings and everything like that, it is pretty much like a pretty bad little fingerprint magnet. I've seen some people say that it's ugly. I really don't think that it's that bad looking. It really reminds me of the Sigelei 150s, the one that I still use really, really frequently. It reminds me of the look of that. I mean, it's not over-branded. I'm not a huge fan of this little Sigelei thing, but it's tiny. I mean, it doesn't bother me personally. This new screen, absolutely in love with it. Easy to read, it's big, it's awesome. I love the screen. Love the buttons. It functions exactly like it needs to. I haven't had it giving me errors. I haven't had it like delaying. I haven't had it doing a single error with actual functionality whatsoever. If you're using it right, it's going to do exactly what it needs to do. One drawback to this guy is definitely battery life, especially if you're using nickel coils on this guy. Nickel coils, you do sub-ohm. You sub-ohm with nickel coils. I've been using 0.2 ohm nickel coils on this for the most part with these kinds of tanks on top. Which, by the way, these Heracles coils, in my opinion, are a lot better than the Atlantis coils. I digress. But 0.2 ohms, even at 0.2 ohms, this single battery does not last long enough. It really doesn't last long enough. I would kind of call this maybe something to take to work with you. Even then, I would take 2 batteries with you because it really does not last long enough on a single battery. The fact that the tanks overlap just a tad is also a con. These skinny little tanks, you can't really notice it as bad. The bigger tanks, you really do notice. RDAs, you also notice pretty bad. That's somewhat annoying, although it's a nifty, tiny little device to take with you. I would consider this more of like a on-the-go device. Personally, that's what I've been using it for, like to just kind of take on the go. I use it around the house too. The limited battery life really kind of tears me away from this. Just the fact that you have to carry so many batteries with you if you do go out for an extended period of time. And you do tend to vape a lot. So the charger that this device actually does come with, nowhere, anywhere in the manual or, you know, on websites or anywhere does it say exactly what this is supposed to be for, updates or anything like that. Just playing with it, if you do plug it in, it does charge the device, and the device does act as a pass-through when you do have it actually plugged in. However, I don't trust these types of things, and I would be wary of this, just with, you know, as Modus's reputation with such things. So I always and always will recommend taking your batteries out and charging them in an external device and not using this feature. It is your own choice to use these features if you so choose. So can thaw mode, let's take a look at that very quickly. Let me switch it over. I have on here the Freak Show Mini. We've got quite a bit of overhang with a Freak Show Mini on it. It looks kind of silly with a Freak Show Mini on top. And I also have a very gross juice in here. 60 watts, let's take a look. It vapes really well. I mean, it does its job. The battery life just really holds it back for me personally. If you vape a lot, if you vape at really low ohms, you're really not going to have a lot of battery life potential in this particular device. I like it though. Personally, I enjoy it. I do like it. It's a durable little device. It's pocketable. I feel like it's sturdy. I like the finish on it. I don't feel like it's an ugly little mod. I feel like Sigelei really hit the nail on the head with this little guy. Other than the fingerprint and the dirt magnet nature of the front and back face plates and that, I do enjoy the device. I enjoy the change to this new screen. The absolute most of this screen makes me a lot happier than it should. So, If you do happen to have a Sigelei 75, please leave your thoughts and experiences below for everyone to read and consider before they purchase. I hope this helped. I hope you have a great day, a great week. I hope that you had a great night. And always remember, guys, to creep it weird.